But the comment sections for me are just a little bit problematic. I'm not... American creators are saying is like basically asking, oh, do white people like black people over there? And that doesn't really sit right with me. Like, don't do that. Of course we like them because they're just normal human beings living their life. Like, don't do that.
Because I know y'all saw that white Scottish woman come up on this app, right? And she had a lot to say, and it was a lot. I took notes, girl. So we're going to dive into it. I'm going to be respectful and address her by her name. I think her page is called LMAC, so I'm going to just address her as L.
White people coming on here to conveniently tell black people in Scotland, you are not black and Scottish, you are just Scottish, is so American. Like, there is a moment, there is a crossover happening between Black Americans and Black Scottish people, and very conveniently, white Scottish people are trying to insert themselves and make themselves relevant because they're not the ones that are trending.
Who is trying to steal the black joy? Who is trying to steal the, attention from the Black Americans and Black Scottish people? Yeah, apparently there's a palm-colored lady that came to explain a black experience in Scotland when Black Americans were asking their cousins, how do black people get treated over there? Do they like black people just in case we are to visit? And looks like, Black Americans already jumped to what they know best, which is to put people in their place and educate them, yeah, and also remind them to step out of black people business. How are you all doing? And welcome back to the channel. I do hope that from wherever you are watching this from, you are doing all right, and hopefully God has protected you and preserved you very well. Thank you to all of you that support me on here, and a big shout out to my members. Yes, we have this episode of this palm-colored lady that jumped on the trend of Black Americans that were in their new discovered joy of the Black Scottish people with a Scottish accent. And because of the questions that Black people were asking, she was like, no, don't go there, okay? This is not America, okay? We love our people over here. Whether you're Black or white, you are Scottish. You're not Black or anything. And Black people were like, and who asked you? We have to look at her videos first and her texts. And we see the reactions that she got from Black people. I don't know if she was misunderstood or she indeed hopped onto a train that she was not supposed to, hop onto and ended up at a wrong destination. We'll come back and talk about this. Shout out to all the creators that have incorporated in here. Yes, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like, share.
So obviously in the last couple of days, we've just found out that the Americans didn't know that there was black Scottish people in Scotland, right? Which blows my mind, but anyway. So it's been amazing, right? I've absolutely loved my FYP the last couple of days. I love that all the black creators in Scotland are getting the recognition. I've found so many more people to follow. But the comment sections for me are just a little bit problematic. I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong or not, right? Because I can only speak on it from my perspective, from a white person living in Scotland, right? So what a lot of the American creators are saying is like basically asking, oh, do white people like black people over there? And that doesn't really sit right with me. Like, don't do that. Of course we like them because they're just normal human beings living their life. Like, don't do that. But then in the comment sections, when the Scottish people are going in and basically saying, we don't differentiate here, you're just Scottish, that's it, the bottom line, you're just Scottish, we don't say white Scottish and black Scottish, that's not the way that it is here, it never has been that way here. If it has been, I've never seen it, I'm 37, I've never described somebody as white Scottish and black Scottish, you're just Scottish, that's it. But then when people are saying this in the comment sections, they're being told that they're just jealous, and how would we know because we're white? Well, we live here and it's a lived experience, right? So that's just not how it's ever been here. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should be differentiating between the two, but I just don't. It's just not how I see it. If you're, whether you're black or white and you're living in Scotland, you're just Scottish, that's it. That's it to me. Like, we're just human beings living in Scotland, that's it. And I know some people might be like, oh, you don't see colour. It's not that. Like, I can see colour, I can see it clearly, I've got eyes, right? But it doesn't make a difference. Like, you're still just a Scottish person. I don't know, I just feel like it's a very American way of thinking, and it's just not the way that it is over here. For me, as somebody who's always lived in Scotland, the only people that I would hear bringing up the colour of somebody's skin is the racist people. That's it. And I feel like if we start differentiating between the two and saying, well, we are separate, then that lets the racists come in and say, well, yeah, they're not white, so you don't belong here, and just go back to where you came from. That's not the case. They're Scottish. They're here. They're living here. A lot of them were born here. Their parents have worked here. Their grandparents have worked here. So they are Scottish. And that's it. That's the bottom line. I don't want it to be separated, but am I wrong? I don't know. I feel like I'm opening myself up here to some very unsavoury comments, but tell me in the comment section if you're not if you're a Black American because you don't live here, but if you're Black and you live in Scotland, how do you want other people to view you? Do you want to be viewed as just Scottish, or would you prefer to be viewed as Black Scottish? I don't know. Let me know.
Okay, I keep seeing these videos and please stop. Why do y'all keep asking the question, do you like black people over here? Because that's the only question that matters. That's the only question that matters. Do they like us? Do they like us? Do they like niggas? That's all we want to know. It's cool, we get it. The jobs are dope. The food is good. The weather's nice. Now let's get to the nitty gritty. Do they like a darker hue? How do they treat the melanated? Come on, let's talk about it. We literally ask that question to everybody. Hell, we ask it to Africans. Yeah, we know it's black people over there, but do they like niggas? You gotta understand that Black Americans got PTSD. We know how we are treated by 99% of people, all right? And that question to the Black Scots wasn't supposed to be a big deal. It wasn't supposed to be this huge conversation about racial history. We just going, yo, just in case we decide to visit, it's cool that we know you out there. We just checking the temperature. How is it for us? And the worst answer that you can give is, we don't see color. They don't care about race out here. Do we know you lying? We know you lying. Shut up. Always somebody trying to convince you, like, yeah, if you go over there to China, they don't even care that you're black. Yeah, right. Every time I walk in the Chinese store, they call me Kobe. We just asked the question just to not be surprised. We already expect there to be some kind of racial tension, like something. But when black people ask a question like, hey, do they like black people over there? Don't look at us like we just asked the craziest question in the world. Like we not known for being hated everywhere. There are so many lighter and white-skinned Hispanics that still feel like they're better than dark-skinned Hispanics in their own race. So don't look at us like we just asking some crazy shit. Real question to the Black Scots is, do y'all say the N-word? Because I really want to hear the N-word with that accent. I really want nigger. Y'all know y'all put all kinds of W's and V's and all kinds of Q's and unnecessary letters in that
American way of thinking, and it's just not the way that it is over here.
Americans discovered this week that Black Scottish people exist and that they're real, and there's this mutual love going back and forth between Black Americans and Black Scots. And in the comment sections, Black Americans are asking the Black Scottish people, is it safe for us to come over there? How do they treat you over there? How's life over there? And I've seen several videos like this from white Scottish people where they're saying, we don't do race over here. People are just Scottish. We don't differentiate. Trust me when I say this to you, every Black person in the world that lives in an either European or mainly white country knows that they're Black. They have experienced microaggressions, macroaggressions. They have been called names. They have been made to feel other. They do feel othered, right? Whether it's super racism, a blatant racism like America, or it's covert racism like it is in the UK. The UK is a very apathetic place where they're told not to bring up things and not to be too boisterous, not to voice your opinion too much. Whereas in America, we talk our shit directly. And that's one thing I can say about everywhere I've lived in the world. Even though America is a racist place and has its issues, we still call out racism when it happens to us in the moment. Whereas a lot of places don't. But what's most intriguing to me is like, it's a white woman saying that Black people asking Black people if the country they live in likes Black people is a very American way of thinking. It's not an American way of thinking. It's a skin folk way of thinking. You will never know what it means to be Black in this world and be othered and be one of the most hated groups of people just based on what we look like. And let's not forget, you're in Europe. Europeans invented racism. So therefore, definitely you may be an advanced person and you love everyone and you have Black Scot friends, Asian Scot friends, but the Scottish people in Scotland are Black British. That's their classification. Just like the Asian people in Scotland are Asian. Just like the Arabs in Scotland are Arab. So I don't see color, we don't do that over here vibe. It doesn't fly when it comes to Black people because you'll never know what it means to be Black. Also, just let Black people talk to Black people without y'all chiming in. This is you don't need to be a part of this conversation. Let Black people talk to each other and let it be fun. To all the Black Brits out there mad that Black people discovered Scottish people, shut up. Enjoy your week.
Hold on, because I know y'all saw that white Scottish woman come up on this app, right? And she had a lot to say, and it was a lot. I took notes, girl. So we're going to dive into it. I'm going to be respectful and address her by her name. I think her page is called LMAC, so I'm going to just address her as L. So we're going to go down this little list here that I have, okay? So number one, you said that you are just now realizing that Black Americans are discovering that there are Black Scottish people, and that you found the comments in some of these videos problematic. And you said you thought the comments were problematic because you saw Black Americans asking the Black folk of Scotland if white people like Black folk over there. Essentially, is it racist there? And you said, don't do that, don't do that. Pause. Because you are not understanding the context behind why that conversation is being had, why those questions are being asked. You see, we as Black Americans understand that anti-blackness is global. And Black Americans love to travel. We love to experience the world and see other cultures, and we love to recognize our cousins in every corner of the earth. But we also have to be mindful that we cannot travel everywhere safely. Not every place is safe for Black folk to visit, which is why we ask this question to gauge whether it is safe. A lot of us would like to leave America, and so if we happen to pick a place like Scotland or like Wales or like Japan, whatever the case may be, we are going to ask the Black people who live there and experience life daily as a Black person within that society whether it is safe for Black people to come into and live. That is not an answer for white people to answer. That is not an answer for anyone non-Black living in these places to answer. But you decided to take it upon yourself to answer the question and say, I've never seen it in my 34, 37, whatever age you said, years of life. Of course you haven't, because you're a white woman. Why would you see or experience anti-Black racism as a white woman? Just because you haven't experienced it does not mean it's not real or happening. It just doesn't happen to you because you are not affected. So the people in the comments saying, girl, how would you know? You're white. They're not wrong. And yes, it is an American way of thinking because we have been racialized, demonized, dehumanized, and terrorized for generations. That is the society we live in. We live in a society where everywhere we look is anti-Black, to where we had to have a handbook called the Green Book to tell us where it was safe to travel in the United States. Did you know that? So yes, we are going to take that mentality because we are on the defense. We are in a constant state of hyper-awareness and self-preservation because of our lived experiences, because we have to be. And we're going to carry that with us when we travel into new places. And we are going to ask our cousins, the Black folk over there, what it's like and if it is safe for us to enter into. Because who would know better than them? Why would we ask a white woman? Then you also said the only people I ever hear living in Scotland bringing up race are the racists. Oh! So there are racists in Scotland then, but you said you haven't experienced it. Right, because you haven't experienced it. You have heard it in passing and most likely have said nothing because it doesn't affect you. Because you like to say, well, I don't see it that way. I don't separate. They're just Scottish. They've always been here. They're just Scottish. But what you're doing when you do that is you are completely erasing the experience they have as being a melanated person living in a white dominated society. You are minimizing their experience and possible trauma that they are going through by being Black in these places. Just because you don't experience it or it doesn't affect you does not mean it's not happening. And it's weird that you're here trying to silence the voices of the people who are telling you it does, because we see you in your comments only liking the comments of white people who agree with you or the comments of people who are making you feel comfortable in your already way of thinking. That makes it feel like you're not really in this to learn anything. You weren't in this conversation to actually have a mind-breaking experience. You just wanted someone to affirm how you already thought and feel. You wanted to be coddled. You didn't actually want to listen to the experiences of Black Scottish people or Black Americans for that matter. And you said differentiating between Black Scots and just Scottish or any other British identity allows for the racists to come in and say, well, they're not white, so they don't belong. They need to go back to where they came from. Buki, that's already happening. You just don't hear it or see it. I came across a video today of a Black Scottish girl who was on the transit, and a white Scottish woman told her to go back to her country. So again, we ask the question, do they like Black folk over there? Is it racist over there? That is not a question that a white woman anywhere can answer. This is a conversation between the Black diaspora, the Black community. No matter where we're from, we are always going to seek information from each other through our lived experiences. We are always going to believe and listen to what those experiences have learned. And when they tell us the information, we are going to sift through it and apply it to how we experience life here and how we would experience life if we go there. Because again, we are always in a state of hyper-awareness and self-preservation because we have had to be, because anti-Blackness is global. I understand that you said, well, I don't want it separated. I want us all to just be Scots. And that would be great. But that's not how the world works. That's not how it works with racialization and colonization and global anti-Blackness. That's just not reality. Yes, those people are Scottish. Absolutely, because that's their nationality. They were born there. But their experience is still Black because that is their race. You don't experience life like a Black Scottish person experiences life. Just like white Americans don't experience life like Black Americans experience life. And it's clear that you did not have the context about American society or about the experience of Black people as a whole or Black culture to come into this conversation because the question wasn't directed at you, and yet you still found a way to center yourself and your opinion within it. That is you leading with your whiteness instead of leading with empathy and understanding, because that's something that whiteness finds very hard to do. So sit back, let us speak to our cousins, let us have a black ass conversation, and you just go on about your day and be happy. Keep on smiling, keep on loving people. But let's not erase and minimize the experience of people who do not look like you, because it 100% matters.
And see, there it is right there. And see, I knew it wasn't going to be long till y'all got in my comments with this. I knew y'all were going to come and prove the black Scottish folk right. Because everybody be talking about, well, you know, what's the racism like? What are the white folk like over there? Same as in America. Because from what I understand it, y'all look at the black Scottish people as immigrants, even though a lot of them were born there. Because they're second or third or fourth generation, to y'all they're still immigrants because they're African. Essentially, y'all are saying that they don't belong in your country, right? Because like you said, white Scottish is the only type of Scottish. But see, what you've unknowingly done here is prove that y'all don't know the difference between race and nationality. Like, this is literally white supremacy in a kilt. Y'all obviously don't even know the history of Scotland, because Scotland has been a very diverse place for generations. It has been a place where people have migrated to for centuries. Not just Norse, Gaels, and Romans, but yeah, black people, Asians, been a part of Scotland for centuries. Did you know there's documentation of Africans living in Scotland that dates back to the 1500s? Yeah, I bet you ain't know that because it doesn't fit your white supremacist talking points. Scottish is a nationality and a cultural identity, not a race. You can be black Scottish, Asian Scottish, because being Scottish is not tied to a skin color. It's basically just where you're from. It's where you were raised and what community you belong to. What you're really saying when you say white Scottish is the only type of Scottish, which is wildly racist in and of itself, you're saying I only recognize Scottishness when it looks like me. That sounds very American, because this is classic white gatekeeping, and it's a key component of white supremacy, something we know all too well here in America. And apparently y'all do over there in Scotland too. This is why they always say, let them talk. Let them talk. They gonna prove themselves. Just let them talk. Y'all proving all the black Scots right. Racism is global. But we already knew all that.
White people coming on here to conveniently tell black people in Scotland, you are not black and Scottish, you are just Scottish, is so American. Like, there is a moment, there is a crossover happening between Black Americans and Black Scottish people, and very conveniently, white Scottish people are trying to insert themselves and make themselves relevant because they're not the ones that are trending. They can relate to us in the fact that white people want to remain relevant, right? Lastly, I'm starting to see a few people saying there's a diaspora war happening, conversation about who's from where, and someone else even said a comment like, how long until y'all are beefing? Like, let's just have this moment, right? For me personally, I find it really refreshing, especially as a Black American going through everything that we are going through politically. It is really nice to just have this little corner of the internet to just see people that look like you, that have very similar routines and culture, and just living in a different space. So I'm interested in building community. I'm interested in traveling. So if you're Black and you're in Scotland, drop a comment. You're welcome to DM me. I'm just really interested in learning and building. And if anything, this just shows the love and the joy and the overall just like passion that Black people have for each other more so than anything else.
I do not think it's by coincidence that I recorded a 4-minute clip that I'm about to post on my TikTok about why the frequently asked questions from Black Americans whenever they discover there's a place that they would like to visit. The questions are, do they like Black people over there? How do Black people get treated over there? Something like that. And that came to me, I think, yesterday at night, about the generational trauma or the PTSD that one of the brothers actually mentioned, which is really amazing because these are the same things that came to me yesterday when I was thinking about this, because Black people will ask this question a lot. They will see a place is beautiful and everyone is like, come visit. The first question is, do they like Black people? How do they treat Black people? Yeah. And one of the things that I said in a clip that I recorded is, this question is rooted in generational trauma. And this is not just trauma that is passed on, but this is trauma that they still even experience. It is fresh, right? That even if you are in America and you are Black American, right? You still have to live with the fact that you are Black in America. Black in America, unlike any other person, right? That don't have to prove their Americanness, right? And that happens whenever the police stops you. It reminds you that you have to carry yourself so much nicer. You literally have to worry about your reaction to that situation, because it will either land you in, trouble, or it will leave you stay on this planet. And that is something that the other rest of the world cannot understand, because unfortunately America is a society that was based and established on race. Everything is racial, and the racial tensions for some reason are mostly in the United States of America. You see how they say anti-blackness is a global problem. I do agree, but to some extent it is not a global problem, right? The tension is not that extreme on the other sides of the world. You might come and people have colorism and all of that, but that is not always on people's minds 24/7. And that's why whenever Black Americans ask this question, the people that don't have this issue, the people that normally silence people that call out racism, right? They be like this is not our problem. You should keep quiet, even if they know very well that they have not lived Black people experience in this very country. They still want to jump in, right, and tell the other rest of the world of how, we know better, when in actual sense you don't know better, because you've not had to live with this experience, right? With that being said, on the point of anti-blackness being global, when you come to Africa, it's not going to be a problem that you are Black. It's not. You're not going to have to worry about when the cops stop you. Yeah, you're not gonna have to worry about where to travel to, which restaurant to go to, and which one not to go to. You're not going to have to deal with the problem of Karens. You're not going to have to deal with the problem of racist grown men and women that are literally, waiting for a chance to pew you. You're not going to face that, which is the reason as to why I said colorism might occur in other sides of the world, but when it comes to, real racism, it's not a global problem. And I think this is also another thing that the US system has used against Black people to trap them in the United States of America, because they tell them everywhere else around the world it is worse. If you go there, you'll be even treated worse. That is a trap to keep you in a bubble and make you feel like everywhere else in the world it is bad, which is not true at all. Yeah. But again, I do agree with most of our Black brothers and sisters that this is Black American trauma. They have survival instincts. They have to make sure that they watch over themselves. They have to make sure that where they're going to go, they are loved. Yeah, because unfortunately for you to exist in your Black skin itself is a problem, right? Policies have been literally made and just shaped to make sure they are specifically for Black Americans, because of how racial this society is, because of how brutal the white people in America are. Yes, I don't know why they are this hateful, because even when it comes to slavery, American slavery was extremely brutal, right? And I don't understand, they are the real gangsters, unfortunately. But then they have the nerves to call Black people, getter and ratchet and savages. They are the savages because they are the ones that have committed the most of the atrocities. Blackness might be a problem wherever you have to go, you have to do research, and that's why Black Americans ask, this is a trauma that they have to live with. And you know what? When Black Americans move out of America and go to other sides of the world and they see how they are embraced, they have a different change of mind, because they're like, wow, do you ever wonder why Americans get shocked and surprised when people like them? Do you ever wonder why Black Americans, when they come to the continent and be embraced, they become all emotional? Because this is not a normal thing. Yeah? Racism in the other sides of the world occurs. But it's not like you are a burden to most of these white people. They are covert. Some of them cover it up. In America, they don't cover it up. They will tell it to your face, we don't like you. We don't like N-word people here. You are this, you are that. They will tell it to your face. The other sides of the world, even if they go through the passive and microaggressions, passive racism and all of that, yeah, all those aggressions, they might go through them, but they are not really so much, out there showing it. And also something else that happens, the other Black people of the rest of the world, because again, this is not something that is like the American way, because the American way goes the extreme way, right? Most of the times, these people are immigrants. They come to those societies and they live with the fact that they come to an agreement that we are immigrants, we don't belong here, and that's it. It doesn't matter what they do to us, we will be quiet, make our money, go back to where we come from. Just build ourselves. They are not so loud about these things. That's why they don't get that much like in the media. Black Americans, they've been dealing with this for decades, and they have learned to fight back because they know they are not going to go anywhere. Whereas other people have options. They know they can go back to Nigeria. They know they can go back to Jamaica. They know they can go back to Ghana. They know, like, after years of dealing with this, they have somewhere to go. But Black Americans, they know this is their home. Okay? So they have learned how to call out these things. They have learned how to build things brick by brick so that they are suitable, so that they are also safe, so that their children, grandchildren are going to be safe. With that being said, Black Americans, when they move out of America, there are so many Black experts that are outside of America, but they are, Black Americans, right? When they go outside of America, they know that indeed racism occurs there, but they also agree that the magnitude of how huge this is, when you compare it to America, no, it's you can't compare it. America is worse. So let's be honest, America has a race problem. And when Americans ask, it's not because they are trying to start something. And for goodness sake, if you're not Black, especially if it is a Black conversation, your input would be appreciated in a way that at least you're not trying to invalidate other people's experiences and questions, okay? So with that being said, I want you guys to let me know what you think. Do you think she was taken, out of context? Or do you think she deserved the smoke that she got from the Black Americans? I think this goes to palm-colored people. We know that probably sometimes you understand some of these things are systematic, right? But again, your experience might be totally different. So if a Black person responds, that would be better. I think it would be nice for you to sit down in a class and learn with the Black people that you live with, that you call Scottish, and listen to some of the things they don't talk about, they don't tell you about, that they see every day. With that being said, again, I think in the comment section, she was trying to fight for her life. And she was like, I admit that, racism occurs over here, but it's just that, whether you're Black or what, you are just Scottish. And I don't know if that is true or not. You guys will let me know in the comment section, because for me, for today, that's it. I do love all of you and pray for you, and hopefully God preserves you and protects you. If you want to travel, do your research, but welcome to Africa and any other side of the world. I'll see you in another amazing video. Until then, my name is Gracie. Love all of you. Bye.